Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talkin with Tony, coming to you from Tony Luke's in Sicklerville, New Jersey. Filling in for Tony today will be Hakim Hudson, writer-director of the successful web series Traplife. I'm Dan Morrow. Thank you for joining us.
You know, I want to introduce my man Tobi, Gadison.
Sure.
Actor, acting coach, director, writer. My man Ryan Olan, I guess he's going by right now. You know what I'm saying? The former Ryan star, you know what I'm saying? Writer, director, comedian, actor, producer, multi-talented type ball.
Just a
creative individual. Absolutely.
Now, you're the writer and director of a successful crime series that's on the web right now called Traplife.
Right.
Where did this idea come from? Is this from personal stories, from personal experiences, from things people have told you?
Well, I'm from West Philly. You know what I mean? So it's a long history of experiences to draw from. But a couple of years ago, I was talking with some friends of mine, and I was like, look, I think one of the things that we could do at our level, I think that a lot of times what a lot of filmmakers do is they kind of reach a little bit beyond their grasp. So what you do is you could have a really good project idea, but because you try to make it much larger than your resources, you can kind of water it down some. So what we decided to do, and Ryan was actually the first person I called when I started putting it together. I remember I called him, I was in New York, and I didn't even know him at the time. And I reached out to him just because I was digging what he was doing in the things that I had already saw him in. So I reached out to him. He called me back. We sat together for a while. We talked about it. I wrote it. He came on as a producer, and he started bringing some other people to the project. Then I reached out to some of the people that I already had dealt with. I had directed Tobi, and it was a feature that should have done much better than what it did, but due to political reasons or whatever, it didn't kind of wind up the way we wanted it to. But it was a finished, completed project. It won 6 nominations in the ABFF, the American Black Film Festival Awards, and it's called Myra's Angel. So getting back to Traplife, we just started putting it together and writing it, and you know, it was kind of one of those things where it kind of started taking on a life of its own, and then a lot of people starting to want to get involved with it. So it kind of just grew to what it became. Some of it was personal experiences. Some of it was things that I had read or seen before. Some of it was ideas that Ryan had or other people that were involved with the project had. Then I just locked down and I got it written, and you know, we got it done.
Now it's very dark, and some of the elements are very dark. But from a film perspective, cinematography-wise, it's actually beautiful to look at. It's like eye candy. Is that you? Do you have a DP? Do you have a
Man, I really want to talk about that too, because my DP, his name is Kareem Walls. He goes by @Mr. Business, and he was the DP.
DP, by the way, is director of photography for anyone totally out of the loop with film.
And actually, I really wish he could have been here today, but he was just shot.
Was he really?
In real life a few weeks ago, and he's in recovery right now. But
so he's okay.
He's okay. He survived.
He's recovering.
He survived. He's going to have he's got a long road of recovery ahead of him, but he definitely did make it. And he's the one primarily responsible for crafting the look of it. And we shot it in 4K. We used a GH4 at the time, some Roki 9 cinema lenses. And we just, again, utilizing the resources that we had and not trying to go too far beyond that, we were able to maximize what we had. Mm-hmm. And he was the primary person responsible for doing that.
Now, growing up in West Philly and in inner city environments and stuff, there's a lot of other alternate lifestyles you could have taken for a life path. You know, you want to be a filmmaker. How do your friends react to that? Were they encouraging? They're fine with that.
Oh, they think it's the coolest thing ever. You know what I mean? Like, because I come back to my neighborhood with it. Like, we shot a lot of it in the neighborhood that I grew up in. I grew up down 52nd and Parkside. So, you know, I had these guys out in the middle of, you know, Viola Street, Parkside Avenue, Heston Street, Lindenwood, like right in the neighborhood where I grew up at. And that's cool because you kind of get to bring it back to show people where you're from, and you also get to show the people who are there that there are other things that can be done.
Especially the kids.
The kids will walk by and stop and, you know, ask questions and say, can we just watch and things like that. Very respectful, never interfered with us. I mean, we shot down Parkside like numerous occasions, and we never had a bad experience.
Now you do this obviously with not a big budget, if a budget at all. A lot of it's just because of the passion.
We did it out of pocket.
Out of passion. Where do you find the like-minded individuals that say, "I'm with you. I see your vision. I don't care if I don't make any money right now, but I'm with you. I'm part of the team." And where do you find committed guys like Tobi and Ryan here?
You got to find people that's already in motion. I'm a firm believer that if people are already in motion and doing stuff, then they're more apt to get involved with something that you're doing because they understand what it takes. Philadelphia is a very closed city in a lot of ways. I mean, like, we're not a media capital like New York or L.A. You know what I mean? We don't even have tax credits anymore for independent film, thanks to the former governor, but that's a different story. But we don't even have that to lean on. So a few years ago, there were a lot of films coming through Philadelphia, and a lot of people would be able to get on and get speaking roles and things of that nature. But now we're at the point in this journey where we have to create our own product. We have to be the captains of our own ship. And if you get, and that's one of the reasons why I was attracted to Ryan to bring him onto the project, was because he was already in motion. Guys that are already in motion, they understand what it takes to get stuff done, and they've already kind of made a lot of the connections that you need to make, everybody's job lighter. They say that, many hands, makes for light work. So if you got a bunch of guys that's committed, it's not as hard as it would be if you just trying to do everything on your own.
No man is an island.
You cannot do this on your own. Filmmaking is a collaborative art. No. And you will not be successful trying to wear too many hats.
It's very hard. It's very isolating. You find yourself, you have no life. You find yourself in a studio just wrapping up production, doing post-production.
I mean,
you're locked up in a room.
How long did it take us to actually, a year and a half? We started shooting, we came out with the project, we started the release in December of 2016, but
we supposed to release it October, actually.
Right, but
well, Ryan, why don't you come up? Yeah, go up.
Yeah, so back to revert back to what Hakim was saying. He sent it to me December 2014. I'm very good with dates. I'm bad with times, but I'm good with my dates and my years. So like around November, December of 2014, he sent me a script. I loved it. I told him I was gonna watch it, get back with him later on that week. I called him back in like 2 hours and told him, excuse my language, I'm messing with it. I love it. Let's rock out. Let's do it. We started shooting in June of 2015, and we didn't put it out till late December of that same year. No, of 16.
Yeah, 16.
Oh, wow. Yeah. The time going so fast, and I'm just talking about I'm good with years, and I just messed that all up. But yeah, we got a good response, It's a headache for me, probably not for Hawk as much, because every time I go somewhere, when y'all putting out more? Well, when y'all doing this? Can I be your part? And I just be like, shh, you got to talk to the OG, man. But it say producer with your name. I'm like, God damn it. So.
And now we also have Tobi in the back. You also create. You also act and perform. How did you get involved in this?
Hakim put the bat signal up in the sky. You know what I mean? And it was a wrap after that. I knew when we did that, our first project that he talked about, day one on the set, I've never met Hakim before, but when I came on the set and I saw him standing in the pathway where we were going to shoot, I just knew he was serious and he was about his business. And I knew, like, my work ethic anyway is just to bring blue magic as far as the art is concerned. But when I saw him and I saw the look on his face, I was like, yeah, I'm standing in front of the Black Greg Popovich. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? Yeah. So I had to bring it. And so and then from that point on in our experience through that I mean the whole thing from day one of shooting to the festival, I knew that this was somebody professionally and personally I wanted to align myself with for the rest of the time I'm allowed to have a career. So.
You just know. Creative people have that kind of instinct where they just know. You know not only if you're with somebody who's got it, but you're part of a project.
Right.
That, this is it. There's something here, and it might not be it might not be Gone with the Wind or some, big.
And you know what else it is too? It's
but it's
trust.
Definitely a launch.
Yeah, and you have to trust a person's vision and direction.
So you guys are definitely on the cusp of something here. And I know you didn't want to talk the entire episode of about Traplife, and which you can tell them where they could find it. But I know you also wanted to talk about other projects as well.
Yeah, you know, I think Philadelphia is prime territory for independent filmmakers. We have the film office. I haven't necessarily needed the film office much because I'm a pretty resourceful person and I've been getting things done outside of that purview. But they are there and they're very, you know, helpful to filmmakers, and they do things that can kind of help push things forward. They have resources and they seminars. You know, they just had one the other day. They really try to, you know, get people to come together. They're fighting hard for new tax credits. I mean, you know, that lack of having tax credits in Pennsylvania really put a big dent. Pittsburgh was doing great with it. Philadelphia was doing great with it. And now all of those projects are in the places that have incentivized filmmaking. You know, Louisiana and Georgia specifically is killing them right now. I know Florida has a lot of stuff going on for a while. Illinois, that's why Chicago was getting a lot of business. You know what I mean? So the projects that I'm doing now, I'm writing something I can't really speak too much about. It's a work for hire for my man Vance DeBose, Bonafide Films and Rough House Records. I'm doing something for him. My man Tiz, who was a part of this project, I'm talking to him about possibly directing the film that he's doing that Tobi may be a part of.
What do you like more, directing or writing?
Directing, man. You know, it's something about appreciating the journey that an actor goes through. I really like well-prepared actors. I like actors that come to set that know their lines, that know their character, that have taken the time to understand the dark corners of their own character's mind.
Well, you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail.
All day.
Yeah.
And you can see it. It's not hard to
It's
tell.
telling.
And it's like, and it's
Very evident.
It's very disrespectful to the people who are prepared, because it is, again, it's a collaborative art, and you're only as strong as your weakest person. So one person can bring a whole scene down, which then can bring a whole portion of your film down, and you have to keep going back in and redoing it to get it right, and it can be draining, you know.
Especially if you're let down by someone that came highly recommended. You have amateurs and first-timers that aren't that great, but if you have a good actor with them,
Right.
it elevates their own performance.
Absolutely.
But then you have some great people that you came highly recommended. You've
And
been
then
totally disappointed.
They piss the bed, and it's like, you know, it's not cool, man. Like, and you know, it's just good to also have, you know, I think about Spike Lee. He always had that stable of talent that he pulled from, and they were, I mean, if you think about just the people that Spike Lee, quote unquote, gave birth to or resurrected in his, you know, particularly the earlier part of his filmmaking career, you know, that's a lot of what became the royalty of Black Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And, you know, like, I like to feel like the guys that I have on my team and in my stable and in my camp are guys that are of that ilk and of that quality. And, you know, Ryan never came to work unprepared. Tobe never came to work unprepared. You know what I mean? And even some of the guys who were doing a different genre, you know, they worked at it. You know, they struggled, and they did the best that they could to try to make the best out of the opportunity, and they called on the people who were a little more talented or a little more experienced than them to help them get further along. So, again, it's collaborative, and you have to depend on the people that's next to you in that foxhole.
Yeah, and we only have a few more minutes left, so let's use this time to really take advantage of these two great guys next to you, literally on your right-hand side. Tobi, you also have an acting school.
Yep.
And what inspired you to do that? What else are you doing aside from teaching and sharing your knowledge?
Well, first of all, like you said, I have an acting school called the Actors District, and what I wanted to do was just, it's like an artistic revolution. You know what I mean? I wanted to be able to train actors just to put more dope artists out there. You know what I mean? I felt like everybody who is called to this thing needs a shot, and so that's why I did it, so I can, you know, replicate some of the dopeness, you know what I mean, and put more dope actors out there. And, you know, I have a couple of projects coming up. Like you said, I have a project with our guy Tiz. I have a project coming up at the end of the year where I play a dude with Asperger's syndrome. So that's probably going to be another big challenge, one of the biggest challenges I've had.
Now, what are you doing right now for research for that?
Oh, man, looking at every documentary, doing case study work, documentary work, the physicality of that, understanding what it's like for somebody that doesn't know what it's like to, what sarcasm feels like. So like a lot of cats that are on high end autistic, which spectrum that Asperger's are, how you structure that sentence. They have social anxieties and they don't know social norms, and so studying case study after case study, watching documentary after documentary, trying to get the just the psychology of what they actually go through.
Now, what do? Do you create a binder? Do you have just notebooks just filled with stuff, links to websites, printouts?
All of that. I have, what I start out with is 101 questions, like personality questions that I take them through. You know, you have.
And is this something you encourage your students as well? Okay.
All day. I practice what I teach, and vice versa. So we go through personality types. Everybody has a certain personality types, and they are just as diverse as anybody walking around. So I try to figure out what personality type is my character, what sign is my character, how did he grow up to even, you know what I mean? Because they go through a thing where sometimes they get bullied in school. And being that he's a black guy, of course, with Asperger's, we don't necessarily deal with mental health issues. So it's a difference between early diagnosis and late diagnosis, and how that affected him in his life, and how he moves through the world with these, with these things. And so they have to consciously overcome like social anxiety and ills, and a lot of it I have parallels with. So I try to find that within myself. So it's a gang of research, because I don't want to disrespect the,
And it sounds like a fascinating project. I'd love to have you back on to talk about that project too. And for Ryan, what's the future hold for Ryan?
Right now, I'm just taking it one step at a time. My passion is to act and everything, but my overall goal for everything, I don't care if I'm 63 years old, that's to be executive producer for television. I just love to create. Yeah. I love to come up with concepts. I like writing. I don't love writing. So my thing is, once I become the producer that I want to be, is just find the writers, find the money, find the director, put everything together. Like my favorite executive producer is Dick Wolf. That's NBC, every damn show on there. And I like Will Packer. Just find the talent, find the content, do what you got to do, find the funding, put it together, stamp your name on it, and create history.
And for Hakim, one last question. Where's the future of entertainment going? We have a lot of independent guys right now. You get a big network deal, all your ideas get squelched by censors, by producers, by investors, and now we have Netflix, we have Hulu, we have all these independent films coming out now that are par for par, far better and far superior than anything the networks can put out. Where's the future of entertainment going in film?
Well, personally, I believe this is the future of entertainment. I think that it's going to be much more independent. When you look at the cost of what the means of production are nowadays, it completely levels the playing field. To me, I'm a believer in story. If you don't have a good story, I don't care if you have the $20 million talent, it doesn't matter. A whack story is a whack story. So if we start with a good story and we have access to the means to tell that story, what's really separating us is an opportunity to get it out to the masses. I've seen people run renegade, rogue, grassroots campaigns that have done phenomenal jobs of getting things out to the public, and I don't think that those things cannot be replicated. I think that they can, and I think that as people become more versed in how to utilize social media properly, how to really utilize the hashtags and things like that, that I think that they will be able to bring a different kind of viewership. And I think at a certain point, yes, when you're doing the quality work that we like to think we're doing, you'll be getting the calls from the people to kind of help elevate you from, one level to the next.
And in the end, it's all about content, a good story, good actors.
Content is king.
Goes back to content and story.
Think about how many times you're looking at TV and you see the same things over and over and over on different channels over and over and over, or different times a day.
You know where it's going. You know where the story is
it's-
going. It's
exactly.
very predictable.
Exactly.
You know, but the new dramatic series and the mini series that come out on Netflix and pay-per-view and HBO and Hulu and all the other new web channels.
There's some strong storytellers on, not major TV.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
there's some
there's a
strong
major
storytellers.
paradigm shift, and it's scaring everyone, scaring the major networks, scaring the cable companies because everyone's cutting the cord and just getting
Absolutely.
Subscribing to Netflix.
Why would I be paying you $150? Why would I be paying you $150 a month for cable when I can get Netflix or Amazon
That's
and
it.
pay them $20 a month and then still have great storytelling? Because half the channels you have, you don't even watch anyway.
And with me are three great storytellers: Hakim Hudson, Tobi, Gadison, and Ryan Olan. And we'll be posting all their information after this show, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
I'm Dan Morrow.
Tony Luke, good looking.
For Tony Lukes here at Sicklerville, this is Talking with Tony. I'm Dan Morrow. Have a great day, everybody. Fantastic.
What's up, man? You can put me and my team on. Missing a whole lot of bread out here.
You ain't no hustler, Bobby. You push that pistol. That's cool and all that. But when it comes to business, that ain't good for business, bro.